In national news, the suspect accused of killing 11 people at a Western Pennsylvania synagogue could face the death penalty. Today, Robert Bowers was charged with murder and federal hate crimes. CBS's Hillary Lane reports from Pittsburgh.
The city of Pittsburgh is mourning the victims of what's thought to be the deadliest attack on a Jewish group in U.S. history.
Members of the Tree of Life Synagogue, conducting a peaceful service in their place of worship, were brutally murdered by a gunman targeting them simply because of their faith.
On Saturday, a gunman killed 11 members of the synagogue's congregation. The victims ranged in age from 54 to 97 and included a pair of brothers, as well as a couple who had been married over 60 years. The suspect, 46-year-old Robert Bowers, was arrested after being wounded in a shootout with police. He's now facing 11 counts of murder.
During the course of his deadly assault on the people of the synagogue, Bowers made statements regarding genocide and his desire to kill Jewish people.
The Justice Department is treating the shooting as a hate crime and may seek the death penalty. The mayor of Pittsburgh called Saturday the darkest day in the city's history, but says the answer is not putting an armed guard in every house of worship.
The approach that we need to be looking at is how we take the guns, which is the common denominator of every mass shooting in America, out of the hands of those that are looking to express hatred through murder.
The victims were remembered before the Steelers-Browns game on Sunday. One fan hung a banner that showed the Star of David, along with the Hebrew word for peace, shalom. Hillary Lane, CBS News, Pittsburgh.
The suspected gunman is due in court on Monday, but remain hospitalized this evening. 2 synagogue congregation members who were wounded also remain hospitalized, one of them in critical condition. And now joined here with meteorologist Connor Pregitzer. Are we in for a fright this upcoming Halloween night?
I see what you did there. That was pretty nice. You know what? I've been looking at the weather. Obviously, everyone's thinking about Halloween. It is this upcoming Wednesday. And that look is not too bad. Certainly not as scary as my slide here. Early in the day, it's a cold start, but mostly clear. We're going to start building some cloud over the course of the day on Wednesday. Jump up to around 50 degrees by the time the kids are getting out from school. In those evening hours, those trick-or-treating hours, we're building in some more cloud, and we are monitoring some precipitation, but at this moment, it's looking like it's going to be a little bit later. Here's what our model is saying for that day. Again, we're watching that precipitation move across the state, but it's not really impacting us until later. This is Wednesday at 10 p.m. And yes, there is some white in there, especially as it goes overnight Wednesday into Thursday morning. Temperatures could be cool enough that we could wake up to some flakes, but later at night I think it's still likely the liquid type of precipitation. So there you have it, likely a clear outing for Halloween. I'll break down what we can expect between now and then in the forecast in just a little bit.
All right, thanks, Connor. Senator Rand Paul from Kentucky came out to Montana this weekend to campaign for State Auditor Matt Rosendale in his U.S. Senate race against incumbent Senator Jon Tester. Paul talked about constitutional liberties and fiscal responsibility. Q2's David J. reports on Paul's Get Out the Vote rally for Rosendale that was today in Billings.
Who's ready for a senator who's going to stick with our president to reduce these taxes? Yeah! Who's ready to have a senator who's going to help our president enforce our border laws and secure our nation?
State Auditor Matt Rosendale spoke for a short time, and then he introduced Senator Rand Paul.
My friend, Senator Rand Paul.
Jon Tester has not done one thing to keep government out of your lives or out of your pocketbook. He has been sending more and more and more of your money to Washington.
Paul also criticized his own party.
If Republicans vote and put up bills that have too much spending and too much debt, he'll be with me to vote against that as well.
And Paul talked about the importance of President Trump's Supreme Court nominees.
I said, well, Mr. President, I think you could possibly, this is after he's only gotten one, I said, you could possibly get 3 Supreme Court justices. And this is vintage Trump. He said, I think I may get 5.
We had a chance to talk with Paul after the rally.
The country has to have borders, and so we have to have for national security purposes, but I'm not against immigration. I'm for immigration. I'm for more legal immigration, but I think we should have zero tolerance for illegal immigration. Matt Rosendale really respects the Constitution, and I'm not campaigning for that many Republicans. I'm only campaigning for people who I truly believe will respect the Constitution and will vote to balance the budget, vote not to have the federal government coming out here to Montana and telling you what to do.
David J., MTN News, Billings.
And David also says that Lewistown and Havre are on the schedule today for the Senator Paul and the Rosendale campaign. Tomorrow, Senator Jon Tester will campaign in Rocky Boy, Fort Belknap, and Havre. A young man from Winfred, Montana is leaving his mark on agriculture not by running the farm, but by filming them. MTN's Zoe Zandora explains how he started and why he keeps going.
For family farmers all across the country, working the land is a way of life. But for most Americans, the farm is a forgotten place.
More and more people are becoming disconnected from what agriculture is and where their food comes from.
This is why Riley Slivka decided his hobby of filming his family farm had a greater purpose. In 2015, his first drone video with stunning images of a Montana wheat harvest gained him some attention. This past April, he released a short documentary called Along the Edge, a Montana family harvest story. It featured his family, and Riley played the role of videographer, writer, and editor.
It is a bit of a difficult process, but I love seeing the story come together.
Currently, Slivka is a student at Montana State studying ag communication, and he has his own business, Agri Studios. His work has already taken him across Montana, North Dakota, Wyoming, and Iowa. But he knows there are still a lot of stories to tell.
There's so much out there that I have yet to learn, and as I travel and gain new clients with different backgrounds, I get to learn more and more about where our food comes from myself.
As he continues to learn all about ag, he hopes others will too. In Great Falls, Zoe Zandora, MTN News.
Well, stay with us. More to come here on Q2. Another Montana Farmers Union convention is in the books, and farmers and ranchers from across Montana help set the organization's policy for the coming year. Find out how after the break. Later in sports, a day after Rocky took over the conference lead, they are already focused on another upcoming first place battle. More after the break.
You're watching MTN News with Zoe Zandora, Storm Tracker weather with Connor Pregetzer, and sports with Casey Conlon. This is the 10 o'clock news on Q2, Montana's news leader.